My name is Nkechi Ogboh. I'm really happy that you all have tuned into today's webinar titled On Your Mark. Hopefully by the end of this webinar, we would gain insight into how to pay for college. At least, the very least, to start preparing to do what we need to do on our part. I think one of my pastors says, prior preparation prevents poor performance. And this panelist that will be talking to us today will tell us what they did, and hopefully we can learn from there. Nothing better than to stand on the shoulders of those that have gone before us. So thank you to our panelists. Then why this? I came here when I came to the States, I came here to start college. And so since I didn't go to high school here, I didn't know that much about the scholarship options. I knew there were scholarships and whatnot, but I did not do my homework because it was sort of like a rush for me to come to the States. But the great thing I would say I did that helped me a lot was going to community college, because that helped to cut the fees down. But then entering into grad, so throughout community college, I worked full-time and went to school full-time. Then I went into graduate school, pharmacy school. Of course, with graduate school, I honestly did not prepare as I should have. So I took student loans, came out of grad school with about with nearly 125K in student loans. And of course, did not like any part of it, hated it, but to God be the glory. We haven't understood what debt can be in our lives, what kind of crutch it can serve as in our life. My husband and I made it a point of duty for the first 5 years of our marriage to get it knocked out, and thankfully that was over 15 years ago. I got out of school, paid it off nearly 10 years now, if not more, and life has been way better. When I think of classmates of mine who left school the same time as I did, they still have student loans, and I'm telling you in the hundreds. So if you think about it, your student loan is like nearly someone's mortgage. We don't want that to be a crutch. We don't want student loans to serve as a crutch for us hindering us doing better things and just living a life of freedom where God can use us maximally. So now I'm going to turn the table over to our panelists, and they will go ahead and talk about themselves, and then each person will take their turns. Miss Salewa, you take the honors of starting. Miss Joy, you'll be second, and then Miss Stephanie, you run it up for us. Thank you all.
Hello everyone, my name is Salewa Kintunde. I'm a sophomore at Texas A&M University in College Station, and I'm a public health major. And I'm really glad to be a part of the panel and to be able to be going to school without having debt for myself or for my parents. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Salewa.
Hello, my name is Isu Ikirute. My middle name is Joy, and a lot of people know me by Joy. I'm also attending Texas A&M University at College Station like Salewa. I'm in my third year studying electrical engineering, and I'm using scholarships to help pay for college.
Thank you, Ms. Isu.
Hi, everyone. My name is Stephanie Obazier, and I am currently a medical student at UTMB in my final year. But I went to Baylor for undergrad and was able to pay off Baylor and med school with scholarships.
Did you guys hear that? For anyone who is thinking of going to medical school and you're not thinking of what Miss Stephanie just said, please just get your paper out and start writing. Thank you so much. And then now, please, for those who are attending, who are listening, to both parents and students. Sorry, I'm not sure what's going on. To both parents and students, please go ahead and start sending in your questions. There will be time for us to start asking questions and whatnot, and hopefully our panelists can help us to answer. Then now, I think for me, the first question I want to ask you all is, at what grade did you guys start thinking of scholarships? Did you start thinking of, how will college be paid for? Because some people might think, I'm in 8th grade, I'm in 7th grade, it's too early, I don't need to think about that. Let me just worry about graduating. What would you say in this case? Ms. Salewa, you can start then. Ms. Joy, you can start, and Ms. Stephanie can go ahead and round up as well. Thank you.
So I started thinking about paying for college a little bit towards the end of my sophomore year.
Okay.
But my parents, they started a college fund for me.
Okay.
When I was born, like
Okay.
during my baby shower, they kind of put a lot of that money together, and then also started taking a little bit of money out of their paycheck from when they could start.
Okay.
But sophomore year was when I was really starting to think about, okay, college is it's coming quicker, so I need to start thinking about a plan.
Okay, and sophomore year is, if I'm correct, 10th grade.
Yes, 10th.
Okay, awesome. All right, thank you for that, Miss Joy. Okay,
So I kind of got the idea of scholarships, I would say originally from Stephanie, just hearing her testimony. So that would be middle school. So that was something in my head, but it wasn't really a focus. And then I think more towards freshman year and sophomore year, I started thinking more about it because my sister was in college.
Okay.
And just learning from her experience going through it, then I started thinking more about it. I would say the process of actually focusing on what scholarships are, what colleges to apply for, and just a lot of the details of it, I focused on that during senior year. So it was just a process of learning some information through the years, but my actual focus was senior year.
Okay, all right, thank you for that. And Miss Stephanie. Soon to be Dr. Stephanie, by the way.
So as far as for college, I honestly did not think about it until probably my junior year of high school. I didn't have the luxury of having someone ahead of me that did school with scholarships, so it wasn't in conversation. But my junior year of high school, I was very close to my high school guidance counselor, and to this day we still keep up. And so that's when like the conversations kind of started amongst our class. And then of course senior year is when the real work of looking them up.
And that was gonna be my next question, was that how significant is the role of a school counselor or your high school counselor? So from what I'm hearing you say, Stephanie, that means it's really important. Would you say the same? Would you echo the same as Sue and Salewa? Did you guys really talk to them about stuff? Did they help guide you in terms of like, okay, where is a scholarship database? Which ones should I or which ones shouldn't I? I want to allow you guys speak.
I would say definitely. If it wasn't for especially the college counselor, and then also it was the college counselor and then her secretary. By the end of my junior year, because I talked to my older brother and sister, and since they did go before me, they told me a little bit about the College and Career Center.
Okay.
And they were telling me you need to take more advantage of it because they wish they were there more. So by the time I started going, and especially during my senior year, it was them who I'd ask questions for when I was still wondering, like, okay, how do I apply for scholarships? What does this look like? They were the ones who gave me like the big packets, and they were like, okay, we have packets each month of new scholarships.
Wow. And
these are the deadlines. You should definitely apply for these ones because historically a lot of students from the school have won this scholarship. These ones, they would, even when some scholarships would come out, they'd be like, hey, Salewa, this application just came out. You should apply for this. I bet you'll be a great fit for this. They'll love you. Like, they have interviews. This and that. They'd give me tips for interviews. Like, some things that when I would go in for interviews, if I didn't talk to them before the questions the people asked me, it wouldn't have, I actually was prepared to answer them.
Okay.
And so they really are a beneficial part of helping you understand the scholarship process and even for applying to college as well.
And that is really great to hear because I didn't even know, honestly speaking, like I said, I didn't go to high school here, but I didn't know there's like specific college counselors in high school. Is what I'm hearing also say. Okay, that is great. Now I'm gonna just take it a bit, do a bit quick turn. What about ACTs? Like there's this book I've read, and by the way, please guys, if you would, I'm gonna be plugging in Debt Free Degree by Anthony O'Neill. But there is this I read in his book that you want to do like the ACTs and is it ACTs and SATs like numerous times, because from my understanding, they take your highest scores. What is your recommendation? Did you guys take the pre-SAT? I know some kids that have taken the pre-SAT already. Like 2 I know took the pre-SAT in, I think, 8th grade and whatnot. What do you guys think about that? How many did you guys do, and whatnot? If you can just guide us towards that trajectory. Salewa again.
For the pre-SAT, I think I took it in 8th grade and then also freshman year of high school. It was a mandatory test you had to take, but it was mostly it was supposed to be like a benchmark to let you see like how prepared you would be for like the SAT, or where you are ranked like with your peers. So I feel like it's a great thing to look back at it when you get your results, to say, okay, am I on average? Am I above average? Where do I still need to work on? So I feel like it's definitely important. It kind of gives you a little bit of a feel for what the SAT will kind of be like. But for the SAT and the ACT, I took both of them my junior year of high school, and I took them twice. I took the SAT and the ACT in the fall, and then I also did it in the spring as well to get a higher score. I definitely advise taking it multiple times, because you can definitely see an increase in your score. And if you're also like using resources, like I use like Khan Academy to do like practice problems, or if you want, you can get like a SAT or ACT prep book to help, and do a lot of practice tests. Those usually can help you get a better feel and to actually strategize more, because most of it is about strategy. So yeah, that's kind of how I prepared mostly with the SAT, ACT.
Okay. When I heard you, Salewa, mention that you took the second round of, I think, ACTs, you said, in the spring. Are you talking about spring of senior year or spring of junior year?
Junior year. So
I thought so. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Both of them during my
junior year. Because even if you wanted to do like early admission, you would need those scores before your senior year or something, right? Or when? Is that right? Okay, Stephanie's shaking her head. Okay.
I think, I think around that time.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Miss Joy, do you have anything to add? Or Miss Esu?
Yes. So I kind of pushed my test taking, like ACT and SAT, to the spring semester of my junior year, and towards I think the last exam I took was probably around October of my senior year, just because I wanted to see if I could get a higher score. So I already had some scores that I could kind of fall back on if I needed to, but just pushing the limit to see when's the last time I can take another test to maybe get a higher score before college admissions roll in. But something I wanted to add was for the PSAT, I believe I took it 9th grade, 10th grade, and then 11th grade. And something to note about the PSAT is during your 11th grade year, this can also change depending if you're graduating early or some other factors. But during your 11th grade year, there's something called a National Merit Scholar. And if it's basically if you're one of the top scores in the nation, I think the first 1% or so. But I would highly encourage like preparing for the PSAT during your 11th grade year, because some schools offer a full ride if you're a National Merit Scholar. So there are a lot of opportunities even from the PSAT and then going into SAT or ACT. Okay,
please everybody hear this news flash. Now I want to make sure I understand this from my kids as well, who are going to come after. I like such things. You're saying that PSAT, which is a pre-SAT, even though you were taking the SAT, you still took pre-SAT even in your 11th grade, because it's the 11th grade PSAT that helps put you in the National Merit Scholar thingy, which is good for full ride scholarships and whatnot. All right, take note, people. Thank you very much. Miss Steph, I love this. What does he have to add? Because I wouldn't know this. I don't know this at all. So this is good information. Thank you.
I honestly, this feels like such a long time ago. And
yes, I know.
Since I took it. So I don't know that I have much to add, but
Okay.
personally, I did take it my junior year spring.
Okay.
I took the ACT. Personally, I like the ACT better, but I took the ACT and the SAT. I think I took the SAT twice. And something I didn't know when I was applying for Baylor, and this is the case I think still now, is that you can get a certain score that helps you to get in, but even after you get in, you can retake the SAT or ACT to get a higher scholarship. That was the case for Baylor. So even now, someone can get in and the career counselors will say like, hey, like take it again and see if you can get a higher scholarship. I don't know if that's a public school or a private school.
Okay. Now, how long from the time of entry into college can you still go take the ACT, get a higher score to get more scholarships? Because I didn't know that.
Yeah, so this is more so admission. So this is still
Okay.
your year.
Okay.
You're
Okay.
back that you've
Okay.
gotten in. I think there is
Okay.
a deadline for sure. Like
Okay.
once you start, college, you can't take it again. But that's just something that some people have used to help them get more scholarship money for
Okay.
even after they've gotten it.
Okay, then now to just follow up about money, scholarship, because I know some parents can do the college funds and what on the 529s and ESA, but I really want to target those whose parents probably are still in debt and are still trying to work their way through debt. I would suggest, please, you don't want to create more debt for yourself or for your children. So let's try and sit down with your kids and figure out another way whereby they can pay for college without you going deeper into debt, especially if you don't have it, right? And that is why this forum is here, is taking place. Now, also, even if you are this parent who has college funds already stacked up for your kids, there is no reason why your kids cannot still get scholarships. Why not? It's money available. Use it, because anyways, from my understanding, even if your kid has a 529 or ESA, you can still withdraw the equivalent amount of the money that they use for fees, even if they got scholarships. So it's theirs still. So please take advantage of all this there. Now talking still about scholarships. My question was, Stephanie, no, I think Esu, I remember hearing that you were still applying for scholarships even though you're in your third year. How is that even? Because I would have probably just thought, okay, I've gotten everything for college all mapped up, but you're telling me that even with each year of college, you're still applying for scholarships in college.
So for me, by the end of my senior year, I had a little over 70,000.
They did not hear you. They didn't hear. Please say it again.
So by my senior year, I had over 70,000 in scholarships. But just looking at the cost of attendance of the college, I wanted to attend Texas A&M. I knew I would need closer to 100,000 just to make sure everything is completely covered. And just encouragement from pastors about keep applying. So I started looking into scholarships that were more specific to engineering. So for STEM, there are a lot of scholarships out there, especially with engineering, because you're pushing it with females and also Black women or Black people in general. So there are scholarships for specific groups of people, but also maybe for academics too. So I was able to get some scholarships for my college of engineering as well. But I knew I wanted everything covered. So that's what drove me to keep applying. And right now I've kind of stopped applying because I have enough.
What is enough, please? We want to hear that number if you don't mind, please. Because so, I really want these kids to hear what is like what it is. Okay.
So I have over 155,000, a little over that, and Justice mentioned that if you'd subtract that from what I initially had, which was some over 70,000, that means I got over 70,000 while in college.
Right.
So there are still a lot of scholarships even in college, and there are a lot of companies out there willing to invest in students. It's just making sure you keep searching and you're hungry for the money.
That's right. Again, you're hungry for money. Now I have a follow-up question, please. With the 155,000, let's say you only need like 120K for college to finish and get your 4-year degree, and you want to pursue a master's. Can you still use the remaining one to pay for your master's?
It depends on the terms of the scholarship.
Okay.
So some scholarships, they want you to use it specifically for undergrad. So they give it to you, or they give it to your school, and then your school uses it to pay for your tuition or whatever. But something A&M does, I think some other schools do it, but I'm not sure if all schools do it, is anything that goes, once they've covered your tuition, your fees, and everything you basically owe to them, they give you the money. So they send it to your bank account through direct deposit. And in that sense, I have some money in my bank that I use for my housing since it's off campus. So in that sense, you can kind of save some money towards grad school also.
That's really cool. Miss Stephanie, I want to hear, we want to hear about yours, please. We want to hear how much you got entering into college, how much you also, when I say college, I mean your 4-year degree in Baylor, and then as well, how you were able to pay for medical school, and you're now like, you'll be graduating in June, debt free. Please, people need to hear this. I need to know.
Okay, so with Baylor, and I know tuition is always climbing. So at the time, Baylor was about $23,000 a semester. And so there were scholarships that I got that were one-time scholarships that were like, they're just giving you, $5,000, $2,500. And kind of going off of what Joy said, something that I did, whether just at home or in the College and Career Center, was I would use keywords and just Google or fast web scholarships. So, for example, scholarships for African Americans, scholarship for Black individuals, scholarships for Harris County. Like, there are actually a lot of scholarships that are placed, like that are focused on like the location, Brazoria County, Harris County, scholarships for STEM, scholarships for medicine. And I would use those keywords to find all these scholarships. And a lot of them were one time, but some of them were like every year they would say, we're giving you $5,000 a year. Wow. So considering that Baylor got covered in general, I would say that it was about $50K a year that I got covered, but it was a mixture of one-time scholarships, continuous scholarships, and then of course Baylor probably paid for, I want to say, like a little less than half of my scholarships from Baylor scholarships, which are both a mixture of academic and need-based scholarships. Two things I was going to say. One is, when I got to Baylor, I quickly found the college or the career and financial aid center, and really just prayed and asked God for a person of peace that I could like have a relationship with. And I remember my sophomore year, I went in, I was like, hey, like I still have like $5,000 for next year that I don't see will be covered. Like, I'm not really sure what to do. And she just like encouraged me. And then I found out like a few weeks later that Baylor gave me additional need. So there's something about actually expressing your need to the school, and they have funds for it to help you continue, because they don't want students to not continue school. Right. So they want to help whenever they can. So I think having that relationship with someone as a college student is also really important. And then the last thing was, there were scholarships that I got. Like, one of the biggest scholarships that I got was based off of my faith. So it's called the Irena Scholarship. It's still going today. And at the time it was $11,000 a year. And you have to be,
sorry, let me write that down so that everyone can get it, if you don't mind, because I'm sure everyone is interested in this. Chat, I'm gonna put in a chat, and if you don't mind spelling it,
I might be able to.
Please go right ahead. Thank you. The Irena something scholarship.
Yes.
Okay, I just saw it. Irene S. Wischer, Wischer. Thank you.
Yeah. And so that was a scholarship. I'm not really sure how I found it, but I found it, and another friend of mine in high school who's also a believer found it, and we both got it. And that was super helpful. And from just looking back over the website, I've seen that they increased the amount they were going up. And so it's a great scholarship opportunity for individuals of faith, specifically Christian faith. And so stuff like that, those keywords like scholarships for believers, scholarships for, first generation college students, things like that are really helpful.
Wow. Okay, then now, for those, I think there's one person in this call already who is planning on going to medical school. Can you please just walk us briefly on how you were able to get UTMB paid for, and was it part of the funding from undergrad, or just what happened, please?
Yeah, so it was different. I think there might be some scholarships that I got that you could carry over, kind of similar to what Joy was explaining, but my situation, all of my scholarships kind of they paid for a Baylor, or they were direct money to me that I used for like getting a laptop or getting something for school. So specifically with medical school, there are different ways that one can go about it. I know that there are some people who directly just contact the school and like, hey, what scholarships do you have? So UTMB has grant and scholarship money that they give. I think generally speaking, that doesn't tend to cover medical school at all, like as a whole. I knew going in I wanted to do primary care. So I started to get strategic when I was looking for scholarships for primary care. And so that is for anyone who's wanting to do, not wanting to specialize. So just OB, pediatrics, family medicine, internal medicine, psychiatry, and I think there's some more other ones. And so I didn't know at the time what kind of doctor I wanted to be, but I wanted to do primary care. So I looked up scholarships for primary care and discovered the National Health Service Corps. I'm going to put it in the chat too.
Thank you.
And so this is a like government-based program that there's both a scholarship program and a loan repayment program. Most people that go into it do the loan repayment option. And what that means is you've already finished medical school, you have loans, you apply for the loan repayment program, you get it, and you're accepted, and you are committing to serving somewhere in the United States. You can choose where you go, but it has to be U.S. territory for X amount of years, and you're still getting paid as a physician, and they pay off your loans. So that's the option that most people do, and that's for pharmacy, dentists, NPs, medical doctors, DOs, so a lot of different health professions. I wanted to just not get loans at all, so I went through the scholarship route, and so I applied for their scholarship program as a senior in college, undergrad. And so when you hear back, when you become a semifinalist and you can request, like, these are the amount of years I would want covered. And I was like, I'm just going to go for it and request for all 4. And so the terms of condition is for the amount of years that they're covering fully, you're saying, hey, after residency, I'm going to serve anywhere in the States. I'm willing to go. And again, you choose where. And
that's awesome.
The idea behind it is to get more individuals in settings where we need more doctors. And so, but yeah, they pay. So I asked for all 4 years. I got all 4 years. They pay all of tuition. You get a stipend every month. You get a one-time lump of money straight to you every year. And they help with like networking for job searching after residency. So and there's one other medical student in my cohort that also got it.
So basically, you apply for the National Health Service. Actually, had never heard of that until after pharmacy school. I kid you not. I just heard about them probably a few years ago. You did that, got into it. They're paying for 4 years, and then all you have to do is that the next 4 years after school. Now, would that be including residency or after residency? After residency, you give them 4 years, right? Yeah. But they'll still pay you while you're giving them.
Yeah. So you're getting paid so essentially there are multiple different health systems and clinics that apply to be a health service or health resource service area facility. And so it's basically a way to get more physicians to those areas. So you're still getting directly paid by that institution, not by the government.
Right. Okay.
You work on like a Native American reservation and you get paid directly from the government, but you're still getting paid.
So I have a question. I know it's probably like a rhetorical question, but you might know the answer since you have probably classmates who do not go this route. Why didn't people think of this route?
So most people are hesitant to commit to saying, as a senior in college, I want to do primary care. Most people don't.
Okay.
Their options open. Like if you want to be a surgeon, for example, then you couldn't.
I got you. That's
most of the reason why. And by the time people decide, it's too late. Scholarship.
That's right.
And so they go the loan repayment route.
Now the question is, let's say you said, okay, I'm going to do primary care, I'm going to commit to this, and then afterwards you change your mind and say, I want to be a cardiologist. What happens after your 4 years?
So it is a contract through the government. So you would if you got it and you're getting paid, like they've already started giving you money, and let's say you're a second year in medical school and you've already decided, hey, I don't want to do primary care, you can contact them and terminate your contract, but you would have to pay back.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. Question now, because I was reading up on this yesterday. Grades. How? Because I understand from what I was reading that there are 3 kinds of scholarships one can get based on athletics, based on like what grades, and then based on, it says like your who you are. What is the word I'm looking for? I wrote it on my PowerPoint. Something about like your personality or whatnot, who you are, not your character or your traits and whatnot, not based really on like what your score was in school. But now my question is, how serious did you guys take your grades, and at what grade level? Because in my mind I'm thinking, from what I've been hearing, that you want at ninth grade to start getting your grades like up and whatnot, because if you're waiting till later on, if there's only much tweaking you can do to your GPAs if you've only had like B's and C's the first 2 years, you're like what, your freshman and sophomore year, and you're now trying to make up. There's so much for you to make up at the end of the last 2 years, rather than you if you had started in the beginning of your ninth grade. How true is that?
I feel like grades, especially for scholarships, and even for college admissions, it is a big deal. I feel like starting high school, it's kind of like a fresh start. Like those 4 years are going, like what you do with your grades, with your involvement in school, like if you're involved in like community service, if you have leadership roles, and then also just the type of person you are too. I feel like that has a big influence on the type of scholarships you'll get. And then even also for college, like even with automatic admissions, it's better if you already worked really hard through high school and you're either top 10 or top 5, whatever it might be, percent in your school. That way you're not necessarily as stressed out when you're applying to college. You already have the confidence, oh, okay, I'm applying. This is just a formality. I already know I'm going to get into the school. You can be more focused on, scholarships, applying for scholarships your senior year. Because that's kind of what I saw a lot with some of my friends in high school. All the time I was focusing on scholarships. I already did the application. They're focused on, oh, is this essay going to be good enough? Or my SAT, ACT score is going to be good enough to get into this school? And I'm already going through like different scholarships, trying to make sure that everything can be paid for and not like still hung up on the application process.
Okay.
So
I
feel like
go ahead.
it is. I feel like it is a big deal.
Thank you. I see you, Joy. You were nodding your head. Did you have anything to add to what Salewa said?
Yes, definitely. I think one thing she mentioned that really stands out is the confidence. Because when your grades are, when you're confident in your grades and like the effort you've put in, even going to interviews, you interact with the maybe the people interviewing you differently. It kind of gives you a piece that, okay, I have my stuff together. So even maybe when you don't get the scholarship, you're not second guessing yourself. So it kind of just gives you a peaceful confidence that at least I'm putting in my best effort. And during high school, one thing that was really important to me was just making sure I was giving my best. I didn't just want to turn in the assignment, just to complete it. I wanted to make sure it was actually a good effort. And I think another thing with grades for me was that I kind of, since my sister went to college, I kind of learned from her experience in terms of some scholarships to apply for and different things. But I also knew just with my family that I wouldn't qualify as much for need-based scholarships. So with that in mind, I knew I needed to have my grades up to get more merit-based scholarships as opposed to need-based scholarships.
I think that was the word I was looking for, merit. Okay.
Yes, so kind of understanding your own family background in order to know which scholarships you are most likely going to qualify for. Also, kind of talking about the character-based scholarships in a sense. My roommate currently, she got a scholarship called the Posse Foundation Scholarship. And that was also kind of based on putting people in a posse, which is like a group of friends. And that's also a full ride. So there are different ways to go about scholarships, but grades definitely play a part because the people who got into the interview process for the scholarship even were some of the top students. So they didn't have to perhaps be like the number one student, but there was this assurance that when they go to college, they're going to give their best into college and not just kind of fly by.
Okay, thank you. And by the way, Miss Esu, sorry, I'm not trying to embarrass you or anything, but she was valedictorian of her high school during her set, so we're very proud of her. So she knows what she's talking about. Please, my daughter, after she saw her cousin also be valedictorian in Canada, that is her goal as well. So would you also agree? So that means you agree that from ninth grade you want to get your ducks in a row. And then is it true? I was talking to a coworker at work, and she said that usually the top 5% of each graduating high school, at least in Texas, usually they get automatic admission to like a state school. How true is that? Have you guys heard of that?
Yes. So just some things to note. For me, I'm always an advocate for people who choose to like dream and also pursue their dreams. Because for me, once I heard the valedictorian thing, also middle school, like I pursued that, and I was my middle school valedictorian. So it was like a good pace to start off practicing, maintaining your grades, talking to your teachers about extra credit, different things like that. So it's never too early to start. Also, with being the valedictorian of your high school, if you go to a Texas public school, your first year tuition is covered. So I was, that's kind of one of the scholarships in a way I was able to get. So there are definitely benefits with being the top of your class. And in regards to the top 5%, most Texas public schools accept the top 10% of your high school, and then I think UT, because of the number of people applying, their number changes sometimes, and currently it might be top 5%. I think when I was graduating, it was top 6%.
Okay.
So, and also I know some schools base the scholarships, just the base merit scholarships that they give you, they base it off of maybe your SAT scores in combination with what percent of your class you were. So I know Texas Tech does that.
Okay. That is awesome. Thank you so much. Question now: how important was the landscape of the schools you were choosing? Did that make any factor? Because when I hear people talking about, oh, the school is so pretty, I need to go there, I'm like, no, that should not be your focus. Or my boyfriend is going there, or my best friend is going there. I'm like, you can talk over the phone, can't you? Right? So please, how important was the landscape of the school, or was there something else you were thinking about when you were choosing the schools you chose?
I'm pretty passionate about this because I had a lot of friends who they picked their school based on, because they were in a relationship and they wanted to go to the same school as their significant other, or it was for the aesthetics of the school, like, look at the landscape and everything around it. But when I was thinking of the school, I wanted to make sure that I wanted to stay in state, that it was a Texas school, and then also just based on tuition, I wanted to go to a public school because it's usually a little bit cheaper, like it's a little bit more affordable than a private school based on like how much money you're getting in scholarships, and just somewhere that had like a good environment. But I wasn't really looking too much as to what the surrounding area of the school was, because your main focus is to go there to get your degree. Like, you can still enjoy your college experience, but the biggest thing is you're there for your academics, not necessarily just for what the school looks like.
Okay, I didn't say that, guys. All right, before someone say I'm too old, I'm out of touch. So this out of touch lady did not say that. Salewa did. So please do listen. Miss Joy, do you have anything to contribute to that?
I would say for me, a primary reason why I chose A&M, I like the school, yes, but also they offered me one of the most they were among the schools that offered me the most scholarships, so that also definitely played a role. I would say probably compare scholarships first, or maybe some other top priorities, and then see maybe the aesthetics and things of that nature.
Okay, thank you. Now, having said that, I'm gonna pause on the panelists and give you guys a break for a second while I just try and give out more information that I just found out yesterday. So parents, students, when you are looking at how much a school costs, right? Sometimes the cost is not like a true cost. It's usually tuition and fees, right? You want to also go to the school's website and look at what you call the net calculator. The net calculator is something that calculates like after maybe like financial aid has been awarded, maybe not taking your scholarships into consideration, but at least it's going to give you a round figure of about what you'll be paying, and not looking at the number that is advertised. Number two, let's say yes, you don't want to go to a school in Texas or whatever state you are residing. You at least look for a state that does that, or that offers what you call reciprocity. So that means you're from Texas, maybe like I think some schools in Florida or Louisiana or whatnot we allow you to pay in-state fees and not make you pay out-of-state fees. So do look into those two avenues if that is what you want to do. And please, there's nothing wrong in also working while in school. When I was in my undergrad, I worked full time, and I also went to school full time. I didn't even stay in school. My sister, my brother, and I, we rented an apartment and we're living there and paying our fees. Trust me, your grades will not suffer. And this is for parents who think, oh, my kids. No, it will actually get them out of trouble, because you don't have time to go party or anything. You are focused. You have a mission. Then, of course, if scholarships is covering, good. But at least I think you should still find something to do with your time, because I don't know about studying all day. I don't know if that is possible. Thank you so much. Let's see what other things I have. I want to make sure I covered everything. Okay, now looking back, one last question. I think we've done pretty good. I don't want to take too much of our time, but looking back on where you are now, and what would you tell your 9th grader self or your 8th grader self? What would you still change? I don't know if Esu, there's anything you would like to change, or anything you feel like you'll have done better. And same for you, Salewa, same for you, Steph. Like looking at your journey thus far, what is there anything you would slightly tweak, you would slightly change, that you can tell our upcoming 9th graders, 8th graders, and those in 12th grade as well, or their parents as well?
I would say to definitely keep working hard in school. Try to look more into the scholarship process earlier on, because they even offer scholarships from the time you're a freshman, even younger than that.
Wow.
For different contests or different scholarships you could apply for. So I could even have started way earlier. And then also, what else would I say? It's just talk more to your parents, understand what your plan is, figure out what the plan is, and make sure that there is a plan. And so that you're not surprised come around the time you're a senior, and you're not sure how you're paying for college, because it's very sad to see that. I saw that with a lot of my friends, and I don't want that. I don't want the same thing for y'all as well. So definitely make sure you're talking with your parents. Even looking at different ways you can start saving. Make sure you have like your own saving account, because by the time you're 16, you can start working, saving money as well. A big thing is saving. So yeah, just make sure that you have a plan, and that you're saving and you're working towards it.
Thank you. Does anyone here have a car? How did you pay for your first car?
My parents actually paid for it, but it was for the 3 of my siblings, so
Okay.
we all were sharing it before my brother and sister were able to buy their own cars. But
Okay.
yeah.
All right. What about you, Miss Esu?
My parents also got me a car.
Also, I mean, I would if you're taking care of college, I would. That is nothing compared to 100,000. I'm sorry, but yeah, Miss Stephanie, what about you?
So I actually got a car after college. So I went to college without a car and made it work. Had a lot of great friends, and then afterwards, my parents helped me to get my first car.
Okay, so basically, we did not use student loans to purchase a car.
No.
You know why I asked? Because that was one of the first purchases I also made with student loans in grad school. My excuse was that, oh, I'm out of the, I'm because I never had a car while going to undergrad. But grad school, I was in another state, so my excuse was, okay, I need a form of transportation. The Greyhound I was using on the flight was no longer working. I'm like, okay, let me buy a car. So that was the first purchase I used with student loans, of course. So please, that's a no. That's not an excuse for those up and coming to say, oh, because I'm going to wherever. Nah. Plan all that now. And you don't have to get into, because once you start that, then you're gonna think of how to fuel it. Because if you didn't have the money to buy, then you probably don't have the money to fuel it, and it just becomes a cascading cycle. So we want to definitely not fall into that trap. Thank you. There was one more thing I was trying to say, but I've forgotten now. It should come back to me soon. Now, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and, I'm so sorry, my audience. Let me go to the chat boxes and get the people who had questions. Now, our song, Junior had a question, and I think it was for you, Esu. Is national merit solely based on PSAT scores in junior year, or could you use another score from a previous year if you performed better?
I believe it's solely based on junior year.
Okay.
So it's kind of a one-time, but I would definitely recommend looking on their website to see the details of maybe if you're doing, you're graduating early or different circumstances that might change that. But I believe it's just solely your junior year.
Okay, thank you for that. And then this is another question from Akemi. She says, what are the three top prerequisites for receiving scholarships? If somebody can just summarize that.
I feel like most of the ones I applied to, they were based on your academics, based on your involvement in school. Like, did you do community service? Were you in clubs? Were you volunteering? And then also they could be financial based, or they could be like based on you specifically. Like, are you a minority? Are you pursuing STEM? Whatever it may be that's more specific to you.
All right, thank you for that. And I had a follow-up question for that, if you don't mind, please. Did you all do volunteering and community service? How important was that for your application, even though you had good grades? Did you still have to have both in place to be able to be awarded like more scholarship?
Yes, I was. I actually won the senior award for community service at my school. I was involved in a lot of different clubs, like honor societies. I was in HOSA because I know I wanted to go into the medical field. I was also involved in with Spanish, like a Spanish club we had. There were also clubs for a club for African American students at my school. So I feel like that, and then a lot of the scholarships would ask, even some of the ones that I won were based on community service. They wanted to know what you were doing in your community, and those were a lot of the ones I won as well. So I feel like they want to know you're well-rounded.
Right, I guess as much. And now, just to follow up on what you said, Salewa, it seems like all these the community service you mentioned were with school. So that means I don't really have to go outside. I could actually do it through school, and it can still count for something.
Yes, even in school or even in church, in the children's department.
Right.
They wanted to see those things.
Nice. How you babysat our kids and stuff, and that all counted for something. That is really cool. Joy, what about you? Is that the same?
Yes. Echoing a lot of what Salewa said. Just something in addition is sometimes when the scholarship doesn't even ask for community service specifically, it makes you stand out. So sometimes when I would put the number of hours I volunteered, they would be like, wow. So it's not just focusing on academics. And I would also add, even if maybe you're not someone who's volunteering every Saturday or something like that, if you definitely choose maybe an organization you're passionate about, it definitely reflects on your involvement in there, because let's say then you're an officer in that organization, but maybe you don't have so hundreds of hours volunteering, but just making sure you align your passions with how you volunteer and just your involvement also, because you don't just want to do it as checking a box to get a scholarship. Right,
that's true. Thank you. Awesome. Miss Stephanie, are you good?
Yeah, I would echo everything they said. And just to encourage everyone, majority of the scholarships that I got were not merit based or not. I mean, the GPA requirement was like a 2.5, 3.0
Okay.
deal. I just want to, I love the word about holistic and well rounded, because when you start looking at, I mean, these organizations and schools want to produce a well rounded person to be a well rounded engineer, a
Right.
doctor, an educator. So, I am all about like going hard on academics. I have seen a lot of people, whether in high school applying for college and even right now in medical school applying for residency, that don't get something, even though they're incredibly smart, because they don't have a personality that, you know what I mean? They're not
Right.
well.
Yes.
So I think exposing yourself to different opportunities and even things. I did some things that I was like, I don't really enjoy doing that, but I wanted to learn more about, volunteering in that way. And so, yeah, I think that that's really important as well.
Awesome. Thank you. I have one last question, I think. Please, guys, if there's any other questions you have, go ahead and send it in now because we're about to wrap it up. I'm trying to be respectful of everybody's time. And Rachel Aminu says, did the program of choice that is major in college play a role in school expenses? How did you pick your how did you pick your majors? Did your program of choice play a role in school expenses? That is maybe like if I'm understanding you right, Miss Rachel, you're asking if, let's say, you wanted to be an engineer, right? Did it play a role in how much the school cost, right? How did they pick their major? If that is right, please go ahead and just type an answer. Yes, she said yes. Okay.
I don't know if it has a big like influence on how much you pay for school. I don't think it necessarily does, because like with like trying to do like for pre-med, there's a whole bunch of different majors you can take that you can choose, and you can still go to medical school. But I don't know if I don't think it affects it, unless maybe the amount of time you decide that you're in school. Maybe if you're doing a program and instead of 4 years, you're doing like 5 and you get like a master's too. I'm not necessarily sure if it affects your tuition.
Okay. I if I have to say something just briefly before I allow you all to continue speaking, I doubt it is. I think it's the same base rate, especially if you're doing undergrad. Now, if maybe like you're in an engineering major and have to do maybe like a chemistry thing, and then maybe they might charge you like a lab fee or whatever, as opposed to somebody who's only doing English and whatnot. But I think on average it's the same base rate for undergrad. And Stephanie's nodding her head. I'll allow you guys speak now. Was that it?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, it's the same. I think the fees part, like you said, would be what's different. If someone is doing like a lab or something, that tends to be like $200 to $400, additional. Whereas another major may have their own version of a fee, so it kind of ends up rounding out. Even if it's not a lab, they have their own thing that they have to do. That's still a fee. And then in terms of the second question of how did I choose, I think there was a question about major.
Yes.
I knew, so community service, I knew I wanted to go into healthcare, and serving was a huge aspect for me. And so I knew I didn't want to do a science major. I enjoyed chemistry and considered it, but I was like, I don't know that that's fully what I feel like I'm supposed to do. And so just saw a lot of wise counsel. I think wise counsel was very helpful. People that knew me and I could speak biblically into my life, and just prayed about it and landed on doing public health. And I was actually between A&M and Baylor, because A&M has a really good public health program as well. And that's how I ended up choosing. I was like, okay, we'll see if this is something I enjoy. And I ended up staying with that major. I just want to speak to like changing your major as well. Like that's something that people do and do a lot. I think that it's helpful to maybe speak to somebody like a counselor when you're in college to know how late can I change my major? Because I saw some of my classmates fall into that awkwardness of having to extend a year because they changed their major too late. So, but yeah, that's how I chose.
Thank you. And definitely you want to also look at your gifts, your talents. What do you like? What do you don't care so much for about? And then of course pray for God's leading. Like I said, seek wise counsel. If you need to shadow, do some shadowing, see, right, during your high school years, hopefully before the 12th grade time, so that you can be able to at least narrow down what you like and what you don't. Hopefully that helps. I think I have another question. What do you do to apply for scholarships? What is the earliest grade you can start? I think Salewa had mentioned that she mentioned something about there are some scholarships that you can start at even freshman, which is 9th grade. But go ahead, please, panelists. What do you do to apply for scholarships? What is the earliest grade you can start? Please, just as brief as possible, and maybe later I'll post the full video and you can also listen to what they said previously.
Usually with scholarships, there's some type of basic information they want to ask from you. So usually it's like, just certain questions about you and your background. And then they might ask for an essay for you to write based on a certain prompt. So there's some that require essays. Not all of them do, but most of them do. There might be also, they might ask for your high school transcript. So they want to see your grades. They might ask for a resume. It's a good thing to start on like making a resume that's about you, your involvement in school, like a little bit about your grades. It's just something to help showcase you and what you've done in high school. They might also ask for, if it's a financially like a financial based scholarship, they might ask for like information from your parents, like tax information. It really depends on the type of scholarship that you're applying for. Some of them might just ask you to answer a short prompt and then that's it. They might not even really ask much. Or if you're a creative person, they might ask you, film a video or do some type of like drawing or a poster. Not all of them are like, I have to sit down on a computer and write a whole essay about myself or whatever. It really just depends on the type of scholarship.
Thank you, Ms. Salewa. And I was about to transition to this, but Stephanie beat me to it. She said that she often used the same essays for scholarships, for like several scholarships. And that is one thing to note, please. I know you had told me that years ago, Stephanie, how you had probably like worked on one or two good ones, and then you had like someone look it over, maybe like an English teacher or a tutor look it over. And once they look it over, guys, that means it's good to go. Please, this should probably be done like in your junior year or right around that time, to give yourself time to, or even earlier if possible, and give yourself time, right, to send it in and then it's all about tweaking, just about tweaking a few words or whatever and sending it to as many as possible. So you are not really stressed. All you'll be doing in your 12th grade, guys, is sending in application, not trying to be writing essays at that time. You should have been done writing your essays and have someone look over it, okay? There's also a database. From what our panelists said, your counselor should be your best friend, because they will give you directions, they will give you tips. If any new thing comes up, a new scholarship comes in, they'll give it to you, because once they see you're interested, that is their job, guys. They would love doing their job. So please allow them do their job helping you. And on that note, I'm going to thank everyone for joining in. It's 12:01. Thank you all so much. I really hope that this was informative and that you would take this and run with it, helping our younger ones. Hopefully there'll be more. Salewa just said my school used Naviance, Naviance, as a database for scholarships. Before I continue talking, let me go ahead and post this. I don't know if you posted it to everyone, but let me see. Yes, to everyone. So everyone got this. So go ahead and look into the chat box. My school used Naviance as a database for scholarships. So there you go. But basically, you want to work on your PSAT. Miss Joyce, Miss Esu said that your PSAT, which is your pre-SAT, if you do it as late as your junior year level, you can, and you get a very high score, you can get into National Merit Scholar. And when you are one, you usually would get an automatic right to school. Parents, if you do have the abilities, I don't know how old your kids are, I would have said college funds, but if they're in your 10th or 11th grade, there's not much that can happen with that. So probably you can cash flow if you can. But with such information that has been shared, today, there is avenue for a lot of scholarships. So please do take advantage of that. Thank you so much. Thank you. We appreciate all your help. Someone just sent another info to us. Thank you, my panelists. Really, really blessed by this. And I'm really praying that you guys all change the trajectory of your lives, that you point to Salewa, you will point to Esu, you will point to Stephanie as being a good resource for you, and helped you not go into the same pattern. Stephanie is saying FastWeb is the one I used. Also look for big corporations. I know there's one for Coca-Cola, Dr. Pepper here, there's Exxon. So they all give scholarships to students. All right. So please do take advantage of them. Make that your assignment. If you don't want to work, do your 9 to 12 grade, please make this your job. If I remember correctly, Stephanie, you said you were applying, you did 2 a day, right? 2 a day or so on average. And then when we say on average, your school year is about 100 days minimum, right? If you think of 2 a day, that is like over 200, going on 300 scholarships. So you will surely get one. If not one, you should surely at least get half of it. So think about that, okay? Make that your homework, make your assignment. Please remain blessed. Thank you, Miss Gladys, for encouraging us, saying that this form was very helpful. Rachel, I appreciate you. A song, thank you. Thank you, thank you. My daughter is raising her hand, and because she is she's the daughter of the host, she can say, she can do. Yes, baby girl, what do you want? What do you have to say, Tochi? Do you have a question? You raised your hand. Sorry? Okay, I can't hear anything. Can you go ahead and type your question on chat? If not, we can probably revisit offline. But thank you all so much. Really appreciate this. Thank you. And I'm going to give you back the rest of your day. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate this. Thank you all. Bye. Have a good one.